Okay, gonna do some game prep, working on a little module here, and I'll be working on the encounters. I've done up the story, and so I'm gonna work up the encounters here. Okay. Here, I'll pull up the cover page here. Something to look at while I fart around here. So it's a nice little adventure with Sahawagan, and so fits nicely in the salt marsh set. So I'm hoping I can squeeze it into my campaign, but I'm actually doing it so I can make it available. I've contacted the author, and he's amenable for me to make it available on Fantasy Grounds. So I've been working on this. I am gonna go and announce my stream a few places, if you don't mind. Okay. So that's one place. Feel free to throw stuff in the chat. I will respond. Oh, I'm going to double my audio here. Mute the stream here. I should have just had it so I could cut and paste. Maybe that's what I'll do. The notepad. An adventure into Fantasy Grounds. Sahawagan and a shipwreck. Okay. Okay. Don't get distracted. So reading Discord, I will focus here. Oh, why? Do my old cut and paste. Okay, just a couple more. Okay, any more I want to put it in? No, that's good. Okay, back to business. Okay, so it's a low-level adventure levels 1 to 3. I love the low-level adventures, so I like playing around with them. So I'm pretty slow to advance my characters. So you can ask my campaign that's been going on for almost 2 years. I think they're like hitting level 3 and 4 now. Okay. Unlock that, make that a background. I'll play around here. Okay. Okay. So I have what I was working on is the NPCs. I've done a couple earlier today. So I have the mayor and the priest of the town. I think they're the only leveled NPCs. Because what I find easiest in the D&D Classic, the 2E rule set, there's a really nice feature that if you can make something as a PC, then you get all, you can, because the PC generation is optimized, you drag and drop onto the sheet, and then you can clone to NPC, and then you can make it an NPC so that it's you can have it for combat and has all the powers and spells and everything. So it's better to see with the cleric actually, because then he has his spells. Because adding spells to, if you just go as an NPC record initially, is a bit bit trickier, especially if it's a classed character class. Then you can't drop the class and give it all the appropriate powers. So this way, and then this way it also has all the saves are going to be set, and everything is THACO and everything will be set properly. Creating it as a PC, then exporting it to an NPC, even if it's an NPC. Oh, the other thing. So I had a couple two versions of this adventure, and this version actually comes with pre-gens, I think. So it's got pre-gen PCs. Yeah, there we go. So, and it's totally in the style of one of my favorite modules, which I'm hoping to run for my streamed campaign, which is U1 Sinister Secret Assault Marsh. So it's even the same number. There's 20, and you've got a variety of characters. So I'm going to include these pre-gens. It's also handy to have the pre-gens, because then if you have an NPC that's similar, you can just pull the pre-gen in, and you have it, and you don't have to generate it from scratch. Especially if you're pressed for time. If you're in the middle of a game, it's nice to have a library of NPCs that you can pull from. See how we're doing here. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions in the chat. Okay. Try and keep an eye on it. Actually, I can if I shrink this down and then keep that screen. I'll stretch that a bit so we can see it. Okay, come on. There we go. Eyes are getting a bit old. So here. So here I'm doing the pre-gens. So we have the name, NIMS, which NIM, that's kind of a nice little play on words. Name being NIM. So typically you want to go with a race first. If you're generating a character, it'll do the attribute changes and give all the abilities. In this case, I have the attributes, so I'm going to enter them manually. But if you're actually generating a PC from scratch, you can put the roles in and then do the race. So you should do stats first, actually, and then race, and then it'll adjust them. But this way, I already have the final stats, so I want to do race first, and then the stats. And this being a first edition module, it actually goes strength, intelligence, wisdom, whereas second 2E they went strength, dex, constitution. So they went the physical and then the mental. But old school original AD&D or 1E, they did it strength, intelligence, wisdom. So to watch myself here as I enter them. It's a half-elf thief I'm working on right now. Wisdom 9, dex 15. Constitution 12. And charisma 10. So now I'll drop the class. So I'm actually using the Osric module for 2E, because I'm not using WotC material, because we're going to publish this under Osric, so we don't have to deal with any WotC IP, so under the open game license. So that enables us to publish it without with less hassle. So thief. So now the thief, all the skills have been added, the saves have been changed, and that's reflected in the chat. And then hit points are generated, but often they give them max hit points, but the old school character doesn't have max hit points. Thief skills, I'm going to go 2E with this, just, oh, I wonder how Osric handles that. Just a sec, let me get my player's handbook and see how these skills line up with the originals. So yeah, the rule sets, you just have to be conscious of what you're in and what you're using, because in my Thursday game, it's become a Rube Goldberg thing, because we've used Osric as well as the 2E, and some of the characters are leveled up in one or the other, or both, and so it's a bit of a mess. But it's all good, we figure it out. So, pickpockets 35. Let's see what it says. Is it? Okay. So, did it give the dex bonus? Interesting. Let's see. What's the dex bonus? I'm back to my 1E Player's Handbook, much loved. Definitely not in mint condition. That's fine. I don't think I would ever sell it. Okay, so dex of this guy is 15. There's no bonus in this. I'm not sure why they're starting at 35. Oh, for pickpockets, the base is 30. Then for half elf, you get plus 10, so it should be 40. I'll just give a 5 race modifier. Okay. 3 languages, 1%. I'll just leave that, but not sure why. Open locks. Traps, 30. Okay. Why are open locks and disarm traps? Maybe Osric is slightly different because it's combining find remove traps, and disarm traps and open locks are combined in a skill, whereas they're separate in 1E and 2E. Okay. Let's take a look at the others. And Shadow's 10. Half elf gets plus 5. Starting at 20 here. Okay. Climb walls. Okay. I think I can pretty much leave these as is. That's fine. It's strange. The half elf seems to be getting the elven bows and swords. Let's take a look at the Osric race description here. Yeah, so they seem to be giving them the elven bows and swords bonuses. I might have to ask Sterno about that. Make a note. I'll ask him in the forums. Well, I should probably check the Osric and then ask him after. Check if it is a standard Osric thing. And Osric is under the open game license. They recapitulated. Oh, there's Wyvern. Hey, Wyvern. Oh, there's Canadian Ancient Gamer. Sorry, guys, I was so engrossed I didn't see you guys drop in. Yeah, Wyvern, I'm actually doing a module I'm hoping to put up on the Forge in Fantasy Grounds for sale, because I contacted the author and he's game, and I hope to use this adventure too. It's a nice little adventure with Sahuagin. It's a low-level adventure, so I'm hoping to fit it into my Saltmarsh game. And so I was just making up, and it also comes with pre-gen, so I was just making up a pre-gen. And I'm doing it with the Osric module, because then I can do it in its open game license, so I don't have to deal with any WotC legalese. So then it makes it easier to publish. So WotC doesn't have to review it or anything. Just the Smiteworks will look at it, and I just have to put it together with the Osric module and not use any of the WotC materials. Cool, thanks for coming by, Wyvern. You've been streaming like a demon, I've seen with your YouTubes. You've been pretty active. Okay, so I made a note to ask about the half-elves getting, seem to be getting the elven bow and sword proficiencies, and just that was kind of new to me. I haven't seen that in either old school or 2E. Yeah, you would know that running a VTT campaign is work. So yeah, I'm running the streamed one, and then I'm also running my Thursday game, which started out in real life and has been going for 2 years. But I switched over last year to the VTT, and I've actually added a few players. So I've got 8 players. Well, you had a big table as well when you were running your game that I was in. So yeah, it's a lot of work. It's fun, but yeah, it takes some time. So I alternate now. I do a game prep stream um, one Monday, and then the next Monday I run my Saltmarsh game. So that's how I'm doing the streaming. And yeah, this might make its way into my Saltmarsh game, but we'll see. I've actually been trying to get this venture into my Thursday game, but they keep not biting on the hooks. Like, I'm running it as a sandbox, so I've put this hook out there a few times, but the players haven't bitten on it. So because I've been working on it for a while, but now I'm trying to get it nice and organized for sale. So it's going to be pretty and done up properly. I don't like to railroad. I like to give the players agency. So, and I'm good to go with the flow. As long as I'm a couple steps ahead, I'm good. But sometimes they throw me for a loop and have to scramble real time. But it's all good. It's all fun. It's a good group of guys. Okay, so I've got the thief skills. What else is going on with this guy? Yeah, Wyvern. That was fun, and yeah, you clearly put a lot of work into that, and yeah, it's good to see you still trucking on the streaming with your Skyrim and your Warhammer and all the stuff you're doing. It's fun stuff. Good luck with the Patreon too. If you want to drop a link to your Patreon in the chat, feel free. Okay, so now what else is this guy equipped with? So he has a whole 6 GP to his name. So here, enter in the treasure. And what else does he have? The equipment is down. Oh, alignment neutral. Here, got some. Well, it's good. Yeah. So you play your game and then you stream it and do something that you share with other people. It's awesome. And yeah, you're always having fun. You can tell in your voice, and yeah, it's a good time. Okay, hit points. It's male. I'm not going to pick tokens for these guys because they're PC, so I'll let the if someone actually plays them, they can pick a token. Okay, equipment. Leather armor, of course. He's a thief. Short sword, sling, bullets, a dagger. Okay. Weapons. Again, this is all from Osric. Sterno did like a massive chore of putting this all together. The Osric module, so then people could do this, do adventures we could share freely or do commercially without using the WotC materials. Okay, sling, and short sword. Oh, I should have done the proficiency as well. The vision for this Twitch channel? Well, yeah, that's a good question. It's fairly modest. What I would like to do in conjunction with this Twitch channel is do some YouTube, like video on demand, about Fantasy Grounds, about old school D&D and those type of things. So I want that to be complementary and them to synergize with each other. So started the Twitch channel, I'm grinding away on it, and then what I would do is do the videos on demand and give some insights, old school, what adventures, like a couple of the topics I'm thinking about, like is like what is Dungeons and Dragons, and kind of maybe a historical perspective where I come from, going into first edition and to now, and then also the best starting AD&D, Hamlet or Saltmarsh. So that's a video I want to do. Compare Hamlet and Saltmarsh as starting points. Two great modules, T1 and U1. You can't really go wrong, but I think it'd be fun to highlight the strengths of each. And the reason why I ended up going with Saltmarsh on my for my campaign, my Twitch campaign. And then there were some others. Yeah, and then maybe a bit more history, like the versions of Saltmarsh, because there's the original Saltmarsh wasn't detailed in the original module. It was just bare bones. But then actually in third edition D&D, they actually did Saltmarsh in the Dungeon Master's Guide 2. They did a fleshed out version of Saltmarsh that really takes place after the U adventures have happened and a lot of wealth is poured into Saltmarsh. So it's kind of an interesting perspective. There's that instance of Saltmarsh, and then there's the 5e version of Saltmarsh from Ghosts of Saltmarsh. So kind of doing it a run through of the different versions of Saltmarsh. And then also there's Sandpoint from Pathfinder. Actually, the person who wrote the Saltmarsh for 3e, he created the town of Sandpoint for Pathfinder, and you can kind of see it if you look at them both. So I have the module for Sandpoint, and actually I cross-loaded it in, and I was using it in my Thursday night VTT campaign as a town. And when I was going through it, there were echoes of the Saltmarsh version from 3e in it. So there's some interesting history of the versions of Saltmarsh. So I think that could be a fun little video too. So here I'm looking for just a basic short sword. I'm finding all sorts of magic ones. Okay, come on, where's just your basic short sword? There it is. And then, so one thing you do for proficiency in weapons, you drag the weapon over. Well, actually, these guys already have short sword. That's that whole thing that they're getting the elven proficiencies here. And then, but I need to do it for the sling. Yeah, it is like, so I had like low expectations, so the channel took off a bit faster than I expected, but then it's like kind of been a bit slow recently. But yeah, I'll just keep plugging at it. I think what'll really kick it off is once I start doing those videos, companion videos on YouTube, because the discovery on YouTube is so much better than on Twitch. So I think it's really tough to break out on Twitch alone. And also I'm going to start streaming both on YouTube and Twitch. Since I'm not an affiliate, I can do that. And I'm not sure, I've seen some things where you just that's the way to go, that you can stream on both as long as possible, and because you get YouTube's discovery can help you build your audience. So apply the sling proficiencies and then apply the short sword proficiency. And then get the sling bullets into inventory. Oh, so you went on Facebook groups and okay, yeah. Yeah, I've been posting to Discord mainly, but yeah, I need to reach out to Facebook groups and get a bit broader in promoting my streams. Yeah, yeah, I know. I haven't seen much. I've seen a few people trickle in. Celestian's been in a few times, so it's been fun having him. The man who built 2E and Fantasy Grounds. So he's been in a few times. But yeah, so yeah, some pointers. I'll have to message you on Wyvern and get some more pointers on where to go for promoting. Yeah, I think so. I think yeah. So yeah, I'm not on Facebook much. Like I do have Facebook, but I haven't waded into those groups. Oh, that would be awesome, Wyvern. I really appreciate that. Um, hmm. Oh, the sling. I wonder where sling bullets are. Maybe under items. Ah, yes. Oh, except there's only magical ones here. Like, hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I became kind of conscious of that with my Google ID. So for YouTube, I changed it for my real name. Um, yeah, just these days it pays to be careful on these things because you never know when you just might be targeted by people or something. So yeah, no, that's a good point too. Because yeah, on Facebook I only have it in my real name. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Okay, why can't I find sling bullet? Okay, well, I can actually type it in because it has for both. I wonder what. So it's interesting. So for the sling, it has that. So yeah, if I fill out the ammo, so I just can put it in the inventories, sling bullets, and then toggle the ammo. There we go. Give them some stones too. Okay, this character, I think that's all he has. First level character. No. a lot of stuff. So for variety, since I just did a character, what I'll do now is I'll do. Okay, yeah, see you, Wyvern. Thanks for dropping by and chatting. And yes, of course, welcome to Lurk. Okay, so let's get into the encounters here. I should go by story. And events. So this gets us to what's going down. So this is style of this adventure. I've run a few of these and they're kind of neat. So it's not a dungeon. You're going into a village and then stuff's happening right over time as the players like work their way around the village and stay. So it's evolving. So these type of adventures, you really need to read the whole thing and know the context because things are happening or will be happening, and so and you may want to foreshadow them. So knowing how things are playing out is critical. It's not, sometimes a dungeon you can run it as long as you can like keep ahead of the players and know what the next rooms are. Then you're okay. But this you have to. It's best if you know the series of events and can keep ahead of your players. And also set things up for them. Because you may, in some interactions, you may have opportunities for foreshadowing, which is always fun. Okay, so event 1, a couple of the townspeople are out looking for treasure, and one of them's captured, and the other might escape. The captured one's taken to their lair and eat them. So it's 24 hours after the party arrives. So, and then area 2, the beach, for details on these two. So I need to create these NPCs. They're in area 2. Okay. Actually, if I pull the map up, I've got the map hotkeyed here. Oh. Actually, I don't. It's the larger map of the area. This is the hamlet. So I've got all the pins for all the little what's going on here? How come the pins are not working? No, that's not good. So I'm gonna have to. Oh, it looks like I have to redo my pins because I've got pins for all of the village, but I think I had to regroup everything because I didn't group it properly initially, and I may have screwed up all my pins. So I need to fix that. So what I have is the there's an appendix. It's the village key, and it has all the numbered. So I'm gonna have to take all these pins off. I wonder if I can do a global delete of pins. No, I have to do it one at a time. A bit tedious, but oh yeah, because I deleted the originals after I put them into the categories, and probably the pins were dropped from the originals. So now I've got to take it from the ones I put in the categories. So you see I've done all like the adventure details out all the buildings in the town. Not a lot of detail, except the important ones are detailed more. But each house, you know how many inhabitants there are, and it's mostly families. It's a fishing village, kind of a sleepy fishing village. And then this shipwreck has happened on a rock just out in the water, and there's the Sahuagin are searching for something that was lost, and the shipwreck kind of draws the characters here because there's rumors of treasure on the ship. So I just remove all these pins, and then I'll be bringing over the pins to the appropriate number. So it's critical if you're doing a module that you do your numbering and are very organized, or else you just end up doing things over again, or then you can't find stuff. So the numbering system works very well, and then Celestian's author extension will organize things and make it into a book once you export it, which is really cool. And the book basically reads on your screen like the module does, if you have a printout of it, or a PDF even. So I've been working from the PDF and transcribing it in. Okay, so here we go. So my new pins. Number 1. I know this is breathtakingly exciting, like watching paint dry. But it's an investment of time for an adventure, and if I put this much time into an adventure, I'm not going to run it once. I'm going to run it a few times. Like I've been running some adventures at conventions and stuff, so there's some things I've run like up to 4 times. And then it's fun to see how different parties and characters go through the same adventure. And it's a lot better just dropping pins and having to retype everything. So the content is here at least. The church. And so most of these are, like I said, like homes. So occupant 1 male, 1 female. So man, his wife, and 4 children. But then you've got something like the church, and 1 male occupant. Actually, I can add this because I've created this Holson guy as the priest as an NPC. So I can take the stats out of here because I can just drop in his sheet. So Fantasy Grounds really operates basically like hypertext. It's like the web. So you put in links, and then you click through, and then it opens it up. So it's like a hypertext type of thinking, which I find very powerful for organizing information. That was kind of the origin of the web, and hypertext was Ted Nelson and the Xanadu project, and it was to be a library where things were cross-referenced and you could flow through things. And it's that origin, I think, has been lost. Like I think it was like in the 90s when the web was coming up, people were more aware of it, but now I think it has really kind of fallen to the wayside, the history and how it originated, the idea of hypertext. So Holson, the sheet I made for him. So yeah, and I don't need to keep his spells here either. Well, it might be okay to keep those details, be a bit redundant. It doesn't cost much, and then at a glance, without opening a sheet, you can have that. Okay, back to dropping pins. Lemon. Oh, general store. Probably need to do a bit more work on that. Lucky 13. 14. Oh, that pin a bit. 15. So yeah, I put all these this appendix, and now you have it. So you can just PCs go up to a building. You can click on it, open it up, and tell them what's there. Have interactions, which I find this is the best way. Like having pins is to me a godsend. Then you click, you see what's there. Rather than I have a hard time relating text, numbers and text to the map. Like it seems like awkward to make that transition, but with the pins on the map, then it's just you click, you open it, oh, that's what's there. It's like, so I find it very powerful for me. And 20 is a net weaver. Of course, he's by the ocean. 21. 22. 23. Where's 23? I wonder if that's 20. Oh, 3 up there. Doesn't have a label. And I'm putting 23 there for now until it's vacant too. It's on the edge of town. 24. That's the mayor. So I've made him as a NPC too. So I will drop him on his house. Then I can take out all his stats damage, or his stats info. I'll keep the extra description. I have it on the sheet, but actually some of the description I'm not sure translates from the PC to the NPC sheet. I'll actually look at it when I pull him up. So here I have Kilmian. It's an NPC. I'll drop him on his house, so he's handy there. And then I will look at the NPC, see if, because I have the description, like the details. Yeah, the details from the PC sheet did not carry through to the NPC sheet. But he does have his weapon specialization. Okay. Yeah, so just leave that extra info there. I don't know if I'll go through. That's because I've got a generic fisherman NPC. I could populate the other houses with them, but I don't think I'm going to bother. I'll just leave maybe a note about the fisherman NPC that can be used, thrown out there if needed, whenever some of the generic characters, if necessary. Okay, so we've got, that's 23, 24, and then 25 and 26. Okay, yeah, this is something I found that was had broken and I didn't realize, so that's good that that's fixed. Okay, but that is the wrong map for what I was looking for, because I want area 2. So uncategorized maps. Oh, see, I have not sorted the images into a grouping for this adventure. So hopefully this doesn't break anything when I do that. Oh, I think it will actually. There's a good chance it will. So when I delete them, I have to put them back in. But I'm going to have to do it either way. So time like the present. Okay. Okay, so we've got the Hearthpoint category. Take the uncategorized. So let's go through one at a time. Back cover. Map of the church. So there are two versions of this module. The original one I encountered was actually on Dragonsfoot, the Dragonsfoot forums, which are the AD&D forums that are ancient and have a lot of good stuff, a lot of good info, some forums, rules discussion. It's a great old school resource. So just look up Dragonsfoot, and they've got lots of free AD&D adventures. And this one was free there, but there's a commercial version that's been upgraded with the nice art and everything on Drive-Thru-RPG. So I was originally working from the free version, and then I got the Drive-Thru-RPG version to do, so that I can have the better art, and it also has the NPCs, which the Dragon's version didn't have. And it has these maps for buildings, which the original version did not have. The ground floor of the inn. Probably should do some line of sight. So, and the line of sight in Fantasy Grounds, it has to be easy, because if I can do it, then anyone can do it, because I am so useless at like aesthetic and artistic stuff. So it's yeah, I'm pretty impressed. It took me a long time before I started doing it, but once I did, it was like, oh, okay, not too bad. So yeah, you never know till you try. You just shouldn't limit yourself in thinking you can't do something without actually trying it. So here's like a black and white version of the so they've got it has an internal cover as well as the external. It's really the old school module layout, which is kind of cool. Again, I started on first edition, so lots of nostalgia for me with this style. Oh, yeah. So actually, that map I just saw, that might have been a mistake to pin that other map, because he's got a better map here that I should be pinning this one. Okay. This is actually a much better map, even though it's black and white. I'm gonna do some line of sight with the trees. That's interesting. 1 square equals 20 feet. And the church is on the cliff. Yeah. Yeah. So all that work I just did is now like, oh, but practice makes perfect. So it's worth it for the better map. This is the area map, although I should look. So I've got a pin map here. It's probably broken too. Oh, this one isn't broken, but there's 2 of them, so one of them is probably the new one. So actually the color one is the old one, and the black and white is the new one. I don't know to compare them here. Almost like the color one better. Which one came from which one again? Well, here I'll go to my PDF. Take a look at the maps. PDF has color in it, only on the cover pages, I think. So then the internals are black and white. Yeah, so the maps are black and white maps are from the drive-through RPG version. I almost like the color map for the area map better. The old one. Although it's not as detailed. So this one, okay, shrink. Oh, where'd the other one go? Oh, I guess they're the same, just color versus. You can't see the hot. This one you can't see nearly as well. I definitely like the color one better. For this one, black and white for the village, but the color for this one, I'm not sure why. Maybe for the print on demand, they can't do the internal color. It's probably what it is. But I don't see. Yeah, I'll check with the author on that. But definitely want to use a color map for the area map. It looks so much better. Okay, well, I'll copy them both for now. Does anyone in the chat use Fantasy Grounds? Different VTT? Feel free to ask questions. I'd like to hear what you got to say. Okay, so the other one. Yeah, the color is so much better. And I'm not an aesthetics guy, but even there are some things that even I can see. I'm a scientist by trade, so design is not my thing. But again, you don't know what your talents are until you try. You'll often surprise yourself. Yeah, no, the black and white definitely is better for the town. No, this image is kind of cute. So there's in the story, Selkie finds this artifact of the Sahuagin, and then that's why they're in the area. They're trying to find this artifact, retrieve it, and they're hunting her down because they've discovered her lair, but they haven't found the artifact. And so she's on the run from Sahuagin. So this looks like the two NPCs I mentioned earlier. I think the half-elven elderly priest, and then the mayor, who's a retired fighter. So they're the only classed NPCs in the town. And then there's another image here. So the PCs have the opportunity to venture out to the shipwreck because they'll have heard rumors about it and want to go out there. So, and it's dangerous. It's on a rock that it crashed on, and the seas are there. So it's going to be a challenge for them to get there, especially low-level PCs. So I don't know. It'll be up to the DM if they want to give them some sort of assistance with water breathing or a ring of swimming or some such to make it a bit easier for them to access the wreck. But otherwise, it's going to be quite the challenge. Ouch. Getting a bit of carpal tunnel in my right hand, so I'm trying to use my left for the mouse. So, but I'm not used to it. I'm a little bit ambidextrous because, I found the same thing when I was working in the lab as a bench scientist, that I needed to mix it up and use my left hand for pipetting. So with some practice, and it became not quite as awkward with the left. So like a little bit of trainable ambidexterity. Well, this one is, I'll blow this one up. So you've got your Sahuagin with there's a priestess, so a spell casting. This is kind of a tough adventure for, like, if it was first level characters, I wouldn't put them through at first level. Give at least a couple second or third level characters in there, or else they might get chewed up. Okay. Oh, I keep forgetting to drag that one over. So I just wanted to show you this one though. This is potentially in the shipwreck. They could encounter Sahuagin. Is this a shipwreck? Or maybe this is the town. Actually, this looks like it might be the town. Because the Sahuagin raid the town as part of the events. So, okay. I'm going to open all these. So I need to get them into that other. So I've got the page 8 images in. I need the page 9. drop it. And then this one is the undersea cave of the Selkie. So that the Sahuagin have taken over and are guarding. And so she's going to seek help from the characters to fight them off and protect her. Okay, so I think 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16. 6, 8, 10, 16. Yeah, so I've got them all here. So then I can delete them in the uncategorized, which may end up breaking some stuff, but I'll just have to go through and make sure. That's why it's a good idea. Like I might run this as a one-shot at a con or something to get all the bugs out before I publish it. There we go. Images are now organized in a folder for the adventure, which is how they should have been at the outset. Let's check how we're doing here with the stream. Okay. Oh, yes. The one thing I keep forgetting to do with my streams is raid at the end, but let's see if I can remember this time. Just get it up here in that right page. Maybe I'll remember. Okay. So organize the images. Now, what I was wanting to do was go to the area images, vicinity. So maybe sticking with this one. Oh, let me see if I broke the pins. Nope, the pins are still working. Well, that's not right. That pin isn't the right thing because pin is for the crown, but that's actually the shipwreck. So I can delete that pin. It's not the right one. Oh, yeah, these pins are broken. They just like seem to be on random stuff. First point, citizens. Oh, that's somewhat relevant. That's not right. It's another random one. I definitely want to keep the color map. Oh, each have got experience points. Clean this up. Okay. Unlock it. Find the right labels for it. Oh, what I should be doing, I should have thrown on some background music for this. I have to remember that for next time. Okay. Now I'll pull up my story and see if I can find the right things to pin here. Oh, my dog's come down to visit me. Hey, how you doing, buddy? So, with the hamlet. Add. Oh, there we go, the boat launch. Yeah, so it's under the Sahuagin band. It's got the locations I need. Here, the shipwreck. Yeah, that's there. Should maybe rename this grouping. Beach. Oh yeah, and this is where those NPCs use a generic fisherman NPC for them. So the PC's can encounter them before they have their fateful encounter with the Sahuagin. Yeah, it took me a long time to realize that it was pronounced Sahuagin. I was always saying Sahuagin because I just read it, and that's how I thought it would be pronounced. Okay. Yeah, I should really name this. Yeah, I think I need a better chapter or grouping for these. So that's not even a location for the Sahuagin band. I might want to move the locations out of this chapter. They're actually locations, and the band is more description of them. Yeah, not to redo the pins. Okay. So, how do I want to do that? Group. Where is the group that I just added? There it is. And I have to number it so it'll show up in order. So this is 005.017. And then vicinity. Where's the point? Vicinity locations. So I'll be pulling these ones. I might as well clear these because I think they'll be broken after I move them. You know, after I put them in that, that's a sub. It's gonna be a sub chapter. Oh, no, no, I won't do it as a sub chapter. Okay, so the shipwreck. Drop it in here, and then drop it from here. Make the pin as I go here. That should work. And the beach. And then No, shoot. I gotta drop the pin from there and not from there. The pin has to come from here. Bull launch. There. And then there. Sulky's hut. Yeah. Undersea cave. That's her original lair. Oh, no, again, drop it in the group first. Then I can put it there. There, so on the location, so now I can drop the undersea cave on there, and then I've done all these locations. Keep the village. I'm actually going to drop a duplicate of the village in here too. Yeah, because that'll be handy, because then I can just pop it up from the area map too. And that's the thing, you can duplicate stuff and it doesn't cost you much. And for organization, then you just, there's just some redundancy and flexibility from where you can access it. There, and our map is all labeled to a color map. And then I've got to go in to that other grouping, because we don't need the redundancy here because it actually doesn't really fit under the band, because they're just the locations of the area. Okay, that's that. Okay, so then back to what I was doing, just looking for those two guys at the beach. So this is the last thing I'm going to do, I think, is set up these two fishermen. You can set them up as an encounter. Get it. Oops. Come on. Come on, don't I have a house point encounters? Maybe I haven't done any encounters. Okay. Yeah, I've made some characters, but I haven't done any NPC encounters yet. Done it, call them encounters when it's in the encounters, so I'll just call it Hearts Point. Okay, and encounter, Rory Gibble. And I have the fisherman NPC that I made. Which is perfect, because that's exactly what they are. 2. I want to test something here. If I generate them to the combat tracker, then they do have hit points. Yeah, I'm having an issue, and I don't know if maybe it's some extension I have, but when I generate from the monster manual, the 2E monster manual, generate an encounter, and then when it spawns with the combat tracker, it actually generates them with 0 hit points. Double check if that's still happening or not. It's happening for quite a while, so I'd always have to set the hit points for my encounters, or else the first hit they go down. Made the characters happy, the players happy, but it wasn't quite the intent. Okay, so got them. Okay, I will give them each a knife. I think I can drop that into there. I wonder what they're armed with normally. Yeah, they don't have weapons here, but I'll give them a knife. Oh. Maybe I'll just have to read a dagger. Yeah, let's just go with dagger. Okay. And so I can take this, so I can replace that with the encounter info. Okay. So I think that's good for tonight. I hope you may have learned something or found this adventure kind of intriguing. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to raid for once. See who I can raid here. Oh, there's Lawful Stupid. Yeah, I could raid them. Okay, here we go. Never done a raid before. Now what happens?